Hi everyone, welcome to the Mac Attack Talk Show,
where we bring real-world issues to the table. I'm Maya.
I'm Anna.
I'm Caroline.
And I'm Kat. So let's get down to it.
You won't believe what I tell you. White coats and clever.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent.
Everyone listening has heard about the Holocaust and the horrors of it. The dehumanization, the treating of humans like animals, and everything else about it. You may think that the Holocaust was the last incident of dehumanization, but in fact, it still exists today, and it is just as bad. There are many similarities between people affected by today's dehumanization in sweatshops and human trafficking. So today, we are giving you the inside scoop on how it affected the victims and how, even after the terrible events of the Holocaust, similar events are still going on today.
There are many relations between how the terrible events of dehumanization made the victims of the Holocaust, the victims of modern-day sweatshops, and human trafficking.
Dehumanization, deprivation of human qualities or attributes. But that is not all. Dehumanization in the Holocaust was much more emotional, physical, and life-changing.
There were many psychological effects of the Holocaust. One of these effects was suicide. Suicide was usually caused by mental breakdowns, depression and anxiety reaction following the loss of emotional support, somatic diseases, direct imminent threat of death, and other causes. The majority of people that committed suicide were prisoners of Jewish origin, foreigners, people of an upper class, and older prisoners.
Most of the remaining survivors today were children during the Holocaust. But as they reach old age, decline in health, lose a spouse, and face other hardships, their extreme stresses may come back.
Long-term effects of the concentration camps include depression, survivors' remorse and guilt of having survived when so many others did not, psychosomatic disorders, an inability to feel or become detached from reality, hostility towards anyone who offers help, and the need to punish and be guilty for what they have done to them.
There were also many physical effects of the Holocaust.
Some long-term physical effects of the Holocaust were fatigue, memory loss, sleep disturbance, headache, digestive tract disorders, starvation, tattoos left on the prisoners' bodies, and heart disease. Because most survivors were living skeletons when they were saved, their bones had decalcification because of a lack of calcium in their diets. This led to kidney stones and joint problems.
In the novel Night by Elie Wiesel, Elie shows how prisoners in the Holocaust were dehumanized and how the Nazis treated them as objects, not people. Babies were thrown in the air and used as target practice, while older prisoners were degraded by losing their identity and being given a number instead. Being separated from their families and forced to run 12 miles in 30 below weather also showed how people were dehumanized in the Holocaust.
The Holocaust was a horrible time that no person could ever forget. Babies, women, men, and children were killed and dehumanized during these times. This was a hard time for Jews, but they somehow came together and got through their mass murder of their race.
Let them kill me. I didn't want to die in agony. Julian Cohen. I was praying for death to come. I was praying for the grave to be opened and to swallow me alive. Rivka Yazloveska.
Hello, everybody! Yes, thank you. You guys are too kind. Okay, well, we all know about the tragedy of the forced labor camps during the Holocaust. But did you know that there are still people working in those harsh conditions today? Yes, that is right, everybody. That is right. Underprivileged people are being forced to work under dangerous health violations to make the clothing that we wear. Some of the stores caught in a sweatshop scandal are Adidas, Banana Republic, Billabong, Forever 21, Nike, Puma, and Victoria's Secret. According to the Labor Department, violating companies had to pay $11 million in wages to approximately 11,000 workers. The employees of the sweatshops are paid $6.50 an hour, when the California law states that the minimum wage is $9 an hour. Also, all workers were forced to stay overtime, but the overtime fee was never included in their salary. Investigators also discovered that the contractors would tamper with the time cards and they wouldn't keep accurate records of the employees' hours. I know it's crazy to think that the nice clothes we wear are someone else's worst nightmare.
Thank you for that, Anna. I think we've all heard of sweatshops, but have you all heard of the physical and emotional effects on sweatshop workers? The poor conditions, the low wages, and the horrible employers take a major toll on the emotions of sweatshop victims. Innocent people are abused physically through beatings and also sexually. The victims most of the time are not allowed to speak back, creating deep emotional effects. For example, in 2010, there were 13 suicide attempts at the Foxconn plant at Shenzhen in southern China. Out of the 13 attempts from January 2010 to June 2010, 10 of the workers had died. One assembly line worker from the Foxconn plant stated, "Life is meaningless," after finishing his 12-hour shift. Another worker in the product development department at Foxconn, who had a college education, said, "I do the same thing every day. I feel empty inside. I have no future." Also, the long-lasting physical effects are lost fingers, internal problems like lung issues from debris in the factories, broken bones from beatings, and many other horrible issues. Dehumanization needs to stop. Everyone on this planet was made the same way, and it is so mind-boggling to think that many humans are treated so differently. Thank you.
Human trafficking, a modern-day Holocaust. Although some may think that it is a thing of the past, human trafficking is very real and it exists today. Every year, human traffickers generate billions of dollars in profits by victimizing millions of people around the world and here in the United States. Human trafficking is considered to be one of the fastest-growing criminal industries in the world. To most people, Toledo, Ohio is just a city on the banks of the Erie Canal. But what most people don't know is that Toledo, Ohio is also known as one of the largest originating cities for sex trafficking. Because major routes like I-75 run through Toledo, it makes it easy for sex traffickers to distribute their victims. Human trafficking has become a very big issue. More than 25 million people are victims of trafficking in the world today, and each year an estimated 100,000 children in the sex trade in the United States alone. The average life expectancy of victims who have been trafficked after entering the industry is 7 years. Sex trafficking includes commercial sexual exploitation of children, as well as every instance where an adult is in the sex trade as a result of force, fraud, or coercion. Sex trafficking occurs within numerous venues in the broader sex industry, commonly found in street prostitution, online escort services, residential brothels, and brothels disguised as massage businesses. Other places where trafficking may occur are small mom-and-pop labor operations and more large-scale operations such as farms and factories. Certain labor brokers that supply labor to multinational or corporations have also been identified as emerging type of labor traffickers.
Thanks, Kat, for that information on human trafficking. Now for the physical and emotional effects on the victims. Human trafficking is an overall terrifying topic that affects 600,000 to 800,000 people across the globe, half of them being children. Physical effects of human trafficking include sexually transmitted diseases such as HIV and AIDS, pain, trauma from working in the sex industries, respiratory, cardiovascular, back problems from working in farming, and sleeping and eating disorders. Mental symptoms include guilt, shame, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and fear. Human traffickers not only take advantage of their victims' body and labor, but of their emotions and the way they see themselves. In places all over the world, such as the US, Mexico, Thailand, Uganda, Philippines, and India, people are tricked into thinking that they are getting a job, but really they are used for prostitution, labor, and making money for their pimps. All of the abuse usually makes the victims feel unloved and worthless, making their journey to recovery that much harder. Commentary from the book Less Than Human by David Livingstone Smith discusses the way Jews were treated in the Holocaust and how it made them feel, which similarly relates to the thoughts that go through the minds of human traffickers. The sad part about it all is that the victims can even become so lonely and hopeless that they start blaming themselves for the wrongs of others.
J'acceptais pas. Je croyais pas que ça m'arrive à moi. J'avais une répulsion contre moi-même. Parce que je dis que c'est pas possible que j'arrive à faire ça. Je me connaissais pas. Je me trouvais pas la femme que j'étais avant. Et là, je voulais vite m'en sortir, mais il n'y avait pas les moyens de sortir dans ce métier.
What is the secret of you feeling so good at your age? What is the secret? What can you tell people about
optimism and looking for the good. Life is beautiful. To be happy, to admire, to thankful that we are living. Wherever you look is beauty.
And you see beauty everywhere. You see beauty everywhere. You see the beauty everywhere.
Everywhere. I know about the bad thing, but I look
to the good things.